18th, 2026, last night, Wemby officially became the face of the league. He did. Before the game, SGA won the MVP, motivating him. Wemby won the night and the game. He is now the movie poster for the NBA. Shooting from 30 feet, you got a little Steph. Blocks like Wilt, alley-oops like Shaq, 24 rebounds, humiliating the other bigs like he did Rudy Gobert, the T-Wolves. Folks, I don't know how many more boxes he can check. We're creating new ones. I've seen a unicorn. I'd never seen a Wemby. I don't know what the series is going to be. Eventually, I don't think SGA, my guess, won't have the worst plus minus of anybody on the floor. You know, I took San Antonio to win it. I think it's going 7. But you are watching two things happen simultaneously. The beginning of a dynasty and potentially the beginning of the greatest basketball player we've ever seen. He's not there yet. I don't think he's fully refined offensively. Dylan Harper, his running mate, you know, Magic got Kareem. Got to have somebody else. Shaq, Kobe, MJ, Pippen. Dylan Harper's 20. I've never seen a rookie guard this good since Magic. 7 steals, 24 points, 11 rebounds. He never turns the ball over. Lightning quick. He'll be all NBA either by next year or the year after. So we've had great tandems in this league. Dylan Harper and Wemby is all-time stuff. The only question for the Spurs, and you're thinking the same thing I am, they're much more entertaining to watch than OKC. OKC, honestly, feels like a supporting character. As defending champs, they do. They're just not that entertaining. I cannot keep my eyes off San Antonio. And the only question is, number one, when does the dynasty start? And number two, cross your fingers at 7'4", can Wemby stay healthy for 12 years and become the greatest basketball player of all time? That's one of the magic gifts of LeBron. Dude never gets hurt. Or Brady. I mean, the rest of the West, I'm watching last night, the rest of the Western Conference feels so inconsequential. Where is Giannis going to end up? Who cares? Is LeBron coming back? Yeah, whatever. How long is Steph going to play? Neat. Feels like a local story.
This is exactly what I have been preaching. This is what I have been saying for months upon months upon months. I declared that Wembanyama is the face of the league. I declared that Wemby is going to be the greatest of all time. I said that. Who cares about any of these other narratives? I literally said that. I have been dissecting this week after week, day after day, asking, who cares about Luka? Who cares whether LeBron is suiting up or not? Who cares where Giannis ends up? None of it is relevant. None of it is relevant. This right here is what matters. I have repeated that over and over. So why does it feel like people are only now discovering who Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs are? I genuinely do not understand. Before I dive in, because there is so much to cover right now, please, San Antonio Spurs fans, do not forget to subscribe and watch the entire video. When you do that, the view counts explode. Subscriber numbers explode. And it is not about chasing views. It is not about chasing subscribers. Obviously, I will take every view and every subscriber I can get. But the real goal is to create San Antonio Spurs content that people genuinely want to watch and discuss, so we can have the best, most grounded, unbiased, authentic conversations out there. So we can have real deep dive discussions about the San Antonio Spurs. Please consider doing that. It truly goes a very long way when you watch the video and subscribe at the same time. Thank you so much. But yeah, man. We all know that game was absolutely bonkers. We all know that game was bonkers. I also recorded the full post-game show immediately after that double overtime thriller. I mean, we witnessed one of the greatest individual performances, one of the greatest contests I have personally ever seen. It was simply unbelievable. Absolutely, positively unbelievable. The maturity this team has displayed. The maturity, they never got sped up. They never looked uncomfortable. The way they started that game, and this is what I want to talk about regarding OKC, you start that game at home, and you never made San Antonio uncomfortable. You allowed the Spurs to dictate the action for the entire night. You are at home. They are on the road. They are the younger squad. You should have been playing out of your mind. You should have been playing at warp speed. Instead, San Antonio completely controlled the tempo. I could not believe it. They never got rushed. They were not overly emotional when Wembanyama made a few big plays, and you still did not see him chirping or fully amped up yet. He eased into it, which is just smart basketball. And I can promise you that was intentional. I promise you the coaching staff said, we know everyone is hyped right now, but we have to stick to our game plan. I can guarantee it, because it was just so beautiful to watch. It was pure perfection. But then there is this whole idea that Colin is saying, now it is official that Wembanyama is the face of the league. And the truth is, he has been that. I do not even like the whole face of the league debate because it is meaningless to me. But Wembanyama, we hear things like, oh, he can block shots like Bill Russell. He can do this like Shaq. And I do not mind comparisons at all. Some people really dislike comparisons, especially in football. You say, this guy reminds me of Lamar Jackson, and people lose their minds. They freak out. They have meltdowns. Compare any quarterback to anyone else, and they lose it. It is not like we are saying they will have the same career or that they are identical. The way I always phrase it is that a comparison just puts a frame around the picture. It helps provide a little clarity. It just makes sense. That is how you have sports conversations. But there is no comparison for Wembanyama. 0. 0. 0. 0. Even if you take small pieces of his game, there is zero comparison. None. It is not like, oh, he does this like Shaq and that like Bill Russell. There are zero comps. None whatsoever. The only comparison I can make regarding Wilt Chamberlain is that people do not realize just how dominant he was. They had to change the rules of basketball because of him. He played so long ago that not many people truly understand, but he altered the way basketball was played. The things he accomplished were absolutely insane because of how overwhelming his all-around ability was. He needed to average 1,000,000 points? He could do that. Need to average 1,000,000 rebounds? He could do that. 1,000,000 assists? He could do that. That is what everyone wanted. They literally had to rewrite the rulebook. I would not be surprised if eventually they change the rules of basketball for Wembanyama. Okay, no more 3-second rule. Now it has to be a 1-second rule or something. They made that rule because of Wilt Chamberlain. It is just insane. A block can no longer be neutral, it has to be 100% on the way up, and it can only be at a 10-degree angle or something. They are going to have to alter the rules because this is just too crazy, man. It is simply too insane. Once you grab 20 rebounds, you have to check out of the game. Every 10 rebounds, you sit for 2 minutes or something. It is just, I am watching this, and obviously I am a huge believer in San Antonio and a huge believer in Wembanyama. I do not know if you guys know that. But I am sitting here thinking, if you are a fan base of any other team, yeah, you can be entertained by this, but you also have to be deeply depressed. I see other up-and-coming teams, right? I have talked about the Sixers. I really think Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and others, I am really excited about what that team could become. But then I ask myself, will they ever get anyone who can compete with Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs? Who could they possibly get? How is that ever going to happen? That is why I scoff at the New York Knicks. People say, you are OT being forgiving enough about the Knicks. You are doubting them. I am not doubting them. I simply see the pure definition of greatness. Wembanyama and the Spurs right now are reminiscent of something out of a movie, where something is so beautiful or so godlike that you are not even allowed to look at its true form because you would go blind. That is what it reminds me of. You are witnessing something where you say, oh my God, I cannot even look at it because it is too perfect. It is going to drive me insane. That is literally what it feels like. I am watching this game and there are so many stretches where I do not even know how to feel because it is so overwhelming. It is just so overwhelming. It reminds me of that feeling when, oh my gosh, I cannot think of his name right now, Vince Carter when he did that dunk where he put his entire arm through the rim. Everybody just stood there like, I do not even know how to react to that. They asked, was that one of the greatest dunks ever? If you remember when it first happened, go watch the highlight. Everybody was just like, I do not even understand what I just saw. People genuinely could not grasp it. Compare that to when, I am really forgetting everyone's name right now, when whoever it was, Blake Griffin, jumped over a car, right? Everybody understood, wow, that is ridiculous. That is crazy. But that was more theatrical. It was more smoke and mirrors. It was more like, look at this big spectacle. Same thing with DWI. GHT Howard slamming the ball down. It was just a loud boom, right? Wembanyama does things where you just have to process what you just witnessed. I literally ask myself, what did I even just see? What did I even just see? I do not even know what I witnessed. That is why there is no comparison. And this is what I have been saying, because Colin says he is not even fully refined yet. So I keep saying he is years away, not next year, not 2 years from now, not 3 years. He is years away from his prime. He is years away from his absolute peak. We are not even going to be close to his actual prime for another 5 years or so. He is that far off. This is the worst version of Wembanyama we will ever see in the playoffs. This is the worst version of Wembanyama we will ever see in the playoffs. One more time, this is the worst version of Wembanyama we will ever see in the playoffs. And he just put up 41 points, 24 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and obviously we have to invent another defensive category. That will be another thing Wembanyama changes about the league. They are going to have to invent another category, both offensively and defensively. Ghost assists where other players are open because of his presence. Ghost defensive plays where it is clearly not a block, not a rebound, not a steal, but it is obviously, this is the Wemby stat. The WEM stat. It was invented because, 30 years ago when the GOAT entered the league, we realized we needed a different way to look at statistics because players can influence games far beyond just rebounds, assists, and points. But yeah, when you really just sit and think about it, and truly realize that this man is so far from his true absolute prime, it is just insane. It is so insane. And I just think, look at some of these other teams that feel good about what they are building. I know the Detroit Pistons just lost, but they are back on track. They are a competitive team now. They feel so much better. As I said, the Sixers, I know they had a tough series, but they feel great about Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. The Lakers are like, oh, now we are going to build around Luka. Okay, great. Good luck with that. Cooper Flag? Oh, the Dallas Mavericks got Cooper Flag? The future is bright for them. They will be able to build around him. And none of it matters. That is why Alien is the perfect comparison. I think I have said this before, but I do not remember. I remember a few years ago when the whole conversation about aliens became more mainstream, and there was just this feeling in the air of, is something about to be revealed? Are we about to be told that aliens are legit out there and they have evidence for it? I was talking to my friend about it, having a casual conversation, and he was not really going along with it. I said, dude, you have to understand, nothing else matters. If we realize that there are aliens and that they are out there, and the government actually has proof, blah blah blah, I was essentially saying that nothing else matters. It would be the biggest, most important thing in the history of the universe. Nothing else would matter because the consequences and the possibilities are so astronomical, so mind-blowing, that it is hard for anyone to truly comprehend just how much it would redefine existence as you know it. It would be the biggest thing. It would be so overwhelming that you could barely comprehend it. And that is what Wembanyama is. Nothing else matters. That is why it is so funny to hear Colin say now, yeah, LeBron this, kind of whatever, who cares? And that is what I have been saying for months. Oh, is Giannis going to be traded? Who cares? Giannis is not that. And that is why I always knock on players like Giannis. Yes, Giannis the Greek freak and all of that. Yes, he is physically gifted. Wembanyama is physically gifted and talented. He is talent ly gifted. I know that is not a real phrase, but I just made it up. He also has the technical skill set. It is not just his size, which was a huge part of Shaq, for instance, and also Giannis, he has everything. It is everything combined into one. Wembanyama is going to be the GOAT as long as he stays healthy. That is what I have also been saying for months and months and months. He is going to be the greatest of all time as long as he stays healthy. And it is just so unbelievable. I think even some of the injuries that Wembanyama will inevitably D throughout his career, no doubt, like everyone, he is not super heavy on his body. Although I do think it would be beneficial for him to gain a little bit of muscle and become one of those lean, wiry, muscular physiques, kind of like not a gymnast. Gymnasts actually get pretty jacked, but more like a ballet dancer, ironically, or rock climbers, actually, right? Where you are pretty wiry, but you can tell the muscular definition is clearly there, so the strength, the ligaments, and the integrity of the joints are all solid. Because he is not super heavy, his joints are not taking so much wear and tear. I think that bodes well. So even if he gets banged up in the traditional sense that we see with all other players, he will be able to recover, kind of like KD. Durant has been banged up throughout his entire career, but he has always been able to come back because he is also huge, obviously tall, and not super heavy on his body. He is stretched, right? And Wembanyama obviously has a lot of that as well, but also Wembanyama is doing all the right things. Wembanyama is trying to figure out what the correct water to drink is. He is working with monks and stuff. He is so dialed in on how to optimize his body and how to optimize his performance in ways that I think other players, even though they put in the work, like KD was always notorious for putting in the work big time, but it was always in the gym, in terms of the basketball gym, not the weight room. And I think Wembanyama does a little bit of everything. So yeah, man, I could just go on and on about his greatness, how special he is. But if you are just now realizing that he is the face of the league, you are late. You are so late to the party. You are just very lucky that this party runs 24/7 for the next 20 years or something, okay? You are lucky that this party just keeps going and going because man, you are late if you are just now realizing that Wembanyama is him, that Wembanyama will be the GOAT, that this is the beginning of the San Antonio Spurs absolutely dominating the NBA. And you are late to the party if you are just now realizing that Wembanyama is the face of the league. He has been it. He is the only player right now who is must-see TV and can't miss TV. It is just insane. Insane. And I feel bad, but I barely even covered, not even barely, I just did not cover, the Cavs versus the Pistons, the Knicks versus whatever. I want to be able to cover all the games. And I will cover that side of things now that there are a lot fewer games. But I was just so locked into everything the Spurs were doing. So locked into every single play Wembanyama made that after you watch a game like this, after you watch Wembanyama play, and then someone says, I have to watch the Orlando Magic play now, or I have to watch the Cavs and the Pistons right now, I am like, I don't know. Just unbelievable. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs? Is it official now? Now, is it official that Wemby is the face of the league? I am not worried about the international or national conversation. Is the Spurs dynasty about to begin? How did you feel about this game? Is he already the best player in the NBA? All those questions. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let us get into some discussions. Let us get into some arguments. But ultimately, let us just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we are really excited to be part of. I think we are well on our way to doing that. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.